Okay, good. This morning we did our presentation with the sisters in Germany. So it was all in German. And we forgot to record. So since we forgot to record, we don't have the German one. But we're recording now, so that's good. Does it say recording? Oh, yeah. There we go. Hi, Sister Deanne, Sister Carlene, Sister Kalechi, Libby. Nice.
Yeah.
We've got there's Sister Melanie. Admit all, admit all.
That's interesting. I can't get it on the beat.
Good, good. We're going to learn a lot about Catherine today. Some things we never, ever knew. Hi, Marie.
Good morning.
Good morning. We always have, when we gather, we have a morning, we have an afternoon, we have an evening.
True.
We've got all three. We're so lucky. Around the world.
Wow, difference.
And here we have Mexico and Edith. We got sisters from everywhere.
If anybody's going to come here, we ought to get on our own.
Preeti and the sisters at Tilo, you look so cold.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's there you go.
Cold here.
It's cold there.
Yes,
Yes.
very cold.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And no heaters.
We need to go to the football.
The Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Oh,
I wanted to say good morning to everybody, and where you have my name, Sister Joellen and I are together.
okay. Do you have a camera on? Ah.
I just
Hey, Joellen. Hi, Edith.
camera today to work.
Okay, here. I'm gonna do this. Yeah. There's the big screen. Thank you. Okay, your audio is on right
Sister Antonia. Yeah, I'm looking for Sister Anthony too. Sister Jean, she's cold too.
Yeah, and hear it. But
Hi, Sister Jean.
are we going to have prayer? No.
What is this?
8 o'clock.
Buenos días. ¿Cómo estás? Bien, bien.
Bien,
I can't get it on the TV.
poco frío. Ein es Querétaro.
In Querétaro.
Querétaro.
You're right, you can hear it.
And it's cold.
That's right.
Here comes Deanne.
Not near as cold in here as it was yesterday.
Right.
Was it? That's fun.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Jean,
See what you can do.
Jean. I said it's not
Jean?
near as cold here
What
as
is-
yesterday.
Okay,
Tell Silveria we're praying for
Yeah,
her.
but you got heating. We don't.
then just go back.
Okay.
Go back.
Yes. Shoot in this book. Rose. Yeah.
Your TV off. Okay, I did. And turn it back on.
3, 6, 6, 6, 6.
Every 3 years.
Go to channel.
All the way to 71. It's good to get into the question.
Let's see who's on here.
Get this stuff.
Yeah.
If I-
Show
one of-
them that. Go ahead. I like it
Right,
because it's
so you'll find
would
you
turn
also
it off. Yeah,
appealing.
try
They're
again.
drawn to you.
details. This is the professional book, right?
This is professional.
So talk to us, if you will, just about how, a little more about your journey here and why.
Okay. All right. Good deal. We'll see you downstairs.
You look cold.
World, is this not going back?
Oh, here we go. Admit all.
They hit
There's a
something.
bunch.
They play those crazy things. They play for, I wonder if Shara would.
What crazy things.
I better get off, huh?
Let's see. Oh, admit all.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey,
Wow, look at all the people on. Holy cow.
Hold on, I'm gonna try it one more time.
Good morning. Hi, everybody.
Morning.
There's Libby. Hey, good morning, Libby.
Good morning.
Oh, wow. We have
Is
the
it not
Netherlands, we have Kenya,
Oh, we got
India,
England.
Nigeria,
Winifred O'Rourke just joined.
Mexico. Wow, this is amazing.
Yes, it is.
Good morning, Angela.
Good morning.
Angela? All right.
Good morning, Angela. Aha.
Nice to meet you. Hey, nice to meet you.
This one maybe.
All right. Maria and
And it's
Jofi,
ready.
how good to see you. Goodness gracious, it's so good to see everybody. Hi, Mary Jane.
Formation House in Nigeria. Nice. Katie, hi. Nora. Navigantes, so Brazil is coming in. Mariana is here too.
Oh my goodness.
All the English speaking countries, the German speaking countries, well, let's see, Germany and Agnes House, so the province, the Agnes House, and then the sisters from Netherlands were on this morning as well. And Jofi has joined us, and I think Maria is going to be here too. And then
Oh, okay.
and then we have Roberta Christensen. Okay, bunch of people
amazing.
still coming in, and so we had a wonderful time this morning, and we'll have a wonderful time this afternoon too. And it is just going to be marvelous information that we have not ever heard before. So we're excited.
So we should have.
Michelle, is this being recorded?
It's, it is. Does it say so?
Well, it said when I came in, it said this was being recorded.
Yeah.
Navegantes, hello. Hello to all the sisters in Brazil.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, all.
Well,
I can't.
hello.
One moment.
Oh, here we go. They keep coming in. I gotta always admit everybody
Yeah.
here.
I can't.
Lots of people don't have their cameras on.
Their camera on?
No, they'd have it turned off.
Yeah,
Still
turn
eating
your camera so we
breakfast.
can see your cute
It's on your
faces.
internet.
They're still eating breakfast? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sister Anthony.
Mr. Michelle, can
Hello.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes. Good to see you.
You can hear me, good.
Good to see you, Winifred O'Rourke. Oh, gotta keep it.
Good morning, Maria.
Doesn't come up
Admitting.
today, but that's okay.
Jolise, you're upside down.
Elise, not a good way to live your life. How did Jolise get upside down?
There you go.
Hi, Shirley. Yes. You do your welcome. Yes. It's like you didn't finish it in the morning. You did? Oh, I just did welcome announcement because it was all in German.
You welcome that part and you say those sauces thing.
Yeah.
And then I'll come in.
Yes, yes. Okay.
That's the flow.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, here we go. Admit all. Yes. Sisters from all over are coming in. It's so fun to see.
Hi, Bob. Good to see you.
We would love to take time for for introductions, but it would take us way too long.
Yeah. Some of us have a bet of how many are going to be on.
Oh, really?
Michelle,
Yes.
this is Kathy.
Yes.
There are also some of our associates in Fiat. There are also associates and Fiat Spiritus members on too.
Yes. Associates and Fiat Spiritus, welcome. Welcome, welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, Nance.
Go to TV room.
Okay. Selena is coming in.
Look at the Formation House in Nigeria. Hello, good
Yes.
morning.
Yes.
How are all of you? So good to see you.
Good. Good afternoon.
Hello, hello. Hi, Sabita.
Hi. Bye.
Hi, Suma. Hi, Suma.
Antonietta. Admit all. Admit all.
This is so much fun.
Look at that. Today than she did yesterday. Hi, Mary Jane. It's on.
We don't have to.
Did you talk with her?
We don't have to.
No, I just asked Sister, could she hear me? And she said yes. Or could she see me? She said yes.
We don't have to do it right now, but after a while, everybody's gonna mute. But not right. You don't have to right now. Hey, Mary. Tony. Good to see ya.
Hi, Sue Escher.
Hi.
Good morning.
There's our two presenters are on. Mina Young is on.
Morning, Tony. Morning, everybody.
Oh,
Good morning.
We need to see
And
faces. There's so many
Antonietta.
with no camera. Turn your cameras on. Let us see your cute faces.
Sometimes not having the camera on is to help the connection.
Yeah, sometimes it's bad connection.
That in mind.
Good morning.
Well, we've reached the 100 mark. Here we go. We're keeping to admitting all.
And those are screens, and there's several on several screens.
Yes, yeah, there are.
Morning, Nance. Enjoying your breakfast, huh?
That's good.
Did you want to get your
just
chair?
got light.
I can't get on.
Okay.
When I try getting the whole group or something like that.
Hello, sisters.
Sister.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Libby.
Rona.
I see you down there.
Regina, admit all. Admit all.
Hello.
This is so exciting.
Hello.
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 Hey, Annie.
We can't see. Here, whole community is sitting.
I hear Charlene.
Hello.
Yes, Charlene. Maria de Camo, Sister Linda, Silveria. Can you see my shared screen? Yes, yes. Yes, Mina. Oh.
Good morning, Mina.
I don't think we're on somehow.
Yes, you are. Anthony, yes, you're on.
Good morning, Sister Anthony.
Yeah.
Michelle, you look better today.
Thank you. It's actually worse, but I'm going to be back here. Okay, we are still admitting. Okay. So here's what we're going to be doing. We have the agenda.
Is this chair okay?
That's just fine. Well, we'll see.
And so many are coming in yet. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Incredible.
This is incredible. By the way, we can take up to 1,000 people on Zoom. 1,000. I asked Sean in the United States, our IT, and I said, Sean, what is the maximum we can do? And he goes, 1,000. And I said, we're fine.
They can have up to 1,000 people,
Now they can see me.
1,000 connections.
Oh, I see. So Sister Michelle is directing it.
Yeah.
Right now, we're, but the other sisters are going to be leading certain parts. And then, yes, and of course, our speakers. Okay, it is whatever time it is in your world. It's 2 o'clock in Germany, 1 o'clock in England, etc., etc. So at this point, we have such an exciting time and the speakers and the information. So we want to begin. So first thing I'm going to ask everybody to do is to mute yourself, mute your audio. And you simply look at the bottom, you see the little microphone.
I'm ready.
It says audio, and then you simply put a click on that, and that mutes your audio. It mutes your audio. And if I can hear people talking, that means you're not muted yet.
Come on, God, what the heck?
Okay, people are just coming in yet. So welcome to everybody. We're really pleased that you're here. And my little welcome is kind of giving you an overview of what we're going to be doing. So Mina, if you want to go to the next slide, this will give you, it sets the scene. So what we wanted to do was to go back to the sources and to find out information about St. Katharina Kasper. And there, the two perspectives, the two speakers, one is going to talk from Catherine as a young Frau, a young woman, and the geopolitical environment of her time. Because we realized pretty quickly that Catherine didn't write about their time before they made vows. And then Sister is going to be speaking about when on August 15th, the exact day. Catherine did not write about that either. So go ahead to the next slide. Mina. So we wanted to get the primary sources, and that is, primary sources are all Catherine's letters, her own writing. And around this time, we have very little to none. Secondary sources are the people who wrote about the events. So they are usually firsthand writing about the events. And then tertiary sources are the people who wrote about what others wrote about. So it's again removed. So this actually gives you a sense of what we wanted. We wanted the primary sources, but we needed to go to secondary sources. And here are the secondary sources. So this is new information. Okay, thanks, Mina. So we have little to no primary sources prior to August 15th. It makes a big difference because we're lacking those primary sources, but Catherine didn't write. Later on, we have all her letters, as we know. The secondary sources are from the following sisters: Sister Corona, Sister Beata, Sister Aurelia, Father Whittier, we recognize that. Father Whittier was a diocesan priest. Father Maher was a Holy Cross. And Father Meyer was a Franciscan. While we have these and access to these, they're actually Sister Simone and Mr. Keller, Herr Keller, they're going to show us the actual documents that we do have. So presentation today from Sister Simona is all from these here. A little bit with Whittier too. So with that, we're going to move on. And at this point, we're going to have the prayer. I think the prayer is next. Mina, you can bring that down now.
The introduction is next.
Yes, the introductions. Sister Nkechi, you go. Let me pick this up.
All
right, once again, sisters, somebody is not muted.
Okay, yes. I can find that person.
Okay, so once again, welcome, sisters. I see also our co-workers here on the screen. I see some Maria residents here with us. They're from Donaldson, Indiana. We welcome each and every one of you, and we're happy that you're able to join us in this first part of the symposium, the 175th anniversary of our founding. And we also would like to acknowledge and welcome Sister Simone and her Keller. We are happy that you're able to walk us through this sources of information, and not just as a storytelling, but also to encourage us as poor handmaids and to give us some insights as to how best we will continue to walk in the footsteps of our foundress and also live our charism and spirituality with intentionality. And so we welcome you, and we ask you then to, sisters, you can ask your questions after Herr Keller must have presented, so that when it's fresh on our minds. I think that's what the learning we had in the morning with the German sisters. And then we will move to Sister Simone then, and then ask our questions or consent, not concerns, and whatever comments that we would have. So thank you. Welcome, Herr Keller and Sister Simone. I turn it over to Sister Sabita to lead us in prayer.
I invite all of you to join with me silently in this short prayer. Loving God, we thank you for Saint Katharina, whose simple yes became a path of mercy. Teach us her courage, her tenderness, her trust in your quiet guidance. May her quiet faith guide our steps today, and her steadfast love shape the work we carry forward. May her spirit inspire us to love boldly and serve with open hearts. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Sister Sabita. Herr Keller, you may now begin. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Just a short introduction. I'm working as the archivist of the German province and as the archivist of the Generalist. My topic today will be, well, the heading is Self-Fulfilling Ahead of Her Time with Maria Katharina Kasper, and what we're talking about is, next please. Today we're talking about one aspect of our development which leads us up to the time of August 1851, and in the focus is the question of the dowry. Next please. Now, the question is, what was the century of MKK like? We all know her lifespan was 1820 to 1889. And in the first half of the century, the place where she lived, Dernbach, fell prey to a big overhaul in statedoms in this area. The Duchy of Nassau was created in 1806, and it lasted till 1866. Whilst the former Nassavians were Protestants, now this area used to belong to the Archbishopric of Trier, which was predominantly Catholic. Now, with the merger of this area with the Duchy of Nassau, the latter became religiously, denominationally mixed. The Duke, himself a Protestant, he had a state church understanding which was reflected. He married a Protestant, but whilst one was Protestant Reformed, the other one was Protestant Lutheran. So he said, I want to go to Mass with my wife. So he ordered the Protestant church, the Lutheran and the Reformed church to merge. So, which happened in Idstein in 1817. And there was a unified Protestant church here. Having said so, he pursued the same politics towards the Catholics, meaning he had sent envoy to Paris, whilst this area was, he sent envoys to Paris, whilst this area was, there's just, he sent envoys to Paris and had negotiated to establish a Catholic bishopric, which didn't happen in this time, but shortly afterwards in 1827. And he pursued this joint policy with establishing something which is called Simultanschule, simultaneous school. And he ordered his clergy also to perform the casual rites, meaning giving baptizing, marriage, and what did he do? So he ordered his clergy to perform the casual rites, meaning baptism, marriage, and funeral rites, to do jointly with the Catholics, meaning in an area where there were predominantly Catholics, the Catholic priest was in charge. Where they were predominantly Protestant, the Protestant priest was in charge. So even if you were, let's say, children, there were children out of a Catholic marriage, they could be baptized by a Protestant. Or if you were Catholic, if this was an area where they were predominantly Protestant, you could be buried by a Protestant, or you could be wed by a Protestant. It also worked the other way around. If there was an area where there was only a few Protestants belonging to this parish, and more Catholics, then the persons would go for their wedding to the Catholic priest. Of course, it was not possible to dominate the Catholic Church. So, but after all, he had his bishopric established in 1827. Next, please. (1808) marks the end of serfdom. Serfdom was that you were, in your existence, were dependent of the local ruler. Here, for example, the Duke of Nassau. This is a feature which dominated the life of Mother Catherine's parents, even though I haven't checked if they were serfs, but it's known from the village here, from Dernbach, that there were quite some serfs. What does it mean? Serfdom meant barriers to marriage, barriers to divorce, barriers to freedom, barriers to choose your profession, barriers to choose to work, to go into an apprenticeship. Because of the marriage barriers, actually, you had to ask the local mayor, and he would sort of like be in charge to the will of the local count or the duke, and the local mayor would rule if you could marry or not. And as it happened, heart found to heart, and illegitimacy was generated. To give you an idea, in Nassau, in the duchy, in 1843, 1 out of 14 kids was illegitimate. And there were areas in southern Germany which were sometimes, depending on the inheritance laws, there were even more children illegitimate. Well, this also had an effect on the education, you might guess. But what happened with the end of serfdom, communal tasks, which beforehand were people were ordered by the local ruler to clean the road or to build the road and etc., now it became a civic task. In 1808, the District Poor Commission was established and the District Poor Regulation was issued. And this it's what's called an instruction. And this instruction was meant actually that, according to the Duke's will, he wanted to have an association founded in almost every village and town which would look after the poor. And it's actually written down in this introduction that these associations are most likely to be women's associations. In 1817, there was a compulsory education edict, meaning now the people were forced to send their children to school, and if parents wouldn't do so, they actually could be fined or even put into prison for not doing so. Which is later on interesting for Mother Mary, of course, when she opens her orphanage, which were more or less migratory work orphans, but she looked after them when they were little, and she had to generated also a schooling system for them. So in 1838, the diocese set the cost for the marriage dispensations. This is also interesting because it also meant that beforehand we talked about marriage barriers, and now they altered the dispensation, the divorce barriers. And the Duke had a strict influence on the issue, put pressure on the bishop, and the bishop finally intervened in the Vatican so that the costs for receiving a divorce were substantially lower, so that in normal people could also afford it. In 1848, there was the tithing redemption, which meant beforehand you had to pay to the local ruler or his representatives 10% of your harvest, 10% of everything you would what your farm would yield. And with the end of the tithing, actually, the tax system as we still now have was established. And here again, at the same time, the care for the poor becomes a municipal task. And you could actually allot taxes, let's say a tax for dancing on a feast day, you could allot for the poor. There's an individual aspect also to Mother Mary's position. It's the division of inheritance. In the Nassau, in our area, everybody would inherit exactly the same amount. This meant if there was a farm and there were 5 kids or 10 kids, everything was partitioned into 5 or 10 parts. And because of there was not much money around, people who had the money would buy, for example, the farm and would give the others the money. Well, they could walk off with the money, but they were basically out of shelter. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting when we later on look how on the dowry of Mother Mary, to give you an idea of it. Next, please. The dowry was customary in the Duchy of Nassau to bring a dowry into the marriage. Sometimes the dowry was actually used for securing the female part in a way that in case the husband died, the female could live out of their own land or their own income. But here it says, and I quote the official law, authorities were strictly not permitted to authorize marriages, nor were clergy permitted to perform them. And now, quote, until it had been established that the man had reached the age of 25 and that there were no canonical or civil impediments to the marriage, and the 2 candidates of marriage would be able to support themselves in future without burdening the community, quote end. The provincial authorities were permitted to allow exceptions, but, quote, any further failure to comply with these provisions shall be punished by suspension from office, with withdrawal of salary, and, if necessary, dismissal of the offending ecclesiastical or secular official. So the threat was not only on the civilian, but also on the church side. If a priest would perform the rites and he would not, and there was not beforehand established that they would not get into social, nowadays you would say social security, then he could be fined or even lose his office. Next, please. Now we're talking about that. Now we're talking about, to give us an idea, what the money we're talking in the future about, what does it mean? In 1862, in the village Oberaar, which is where Witthaer came from, a 2-story farmhouse, the adjacent land, and a barn was offered for 600 guilders. The guilders, sometimes you read FL, which is florin, it's the how guilders were written. The same like if you would say dollars and you write an S with a double bar in it. In 1846, a family of linen weavers with 2 children needed for their livelihood per year 200 guilders, of which were 20 guilders rent bread 60 guilders, 50 kreuzer, a loaf a day makes 10 kreuzer, and for shoes, underwear, and clothing 35 guilders a year. So 200 guilders a year, 20 guilders for rent a year. Even that money was very difficult to earn. Now, next page. In the statutes of the poor handmaids in 1856, paragraph 28, the dowry was set at 300 guilders. First half had to be paid by entering the postulate, and the second half is to be paid at the profession. And a similar rule was established a similar regulation was established in the rule of 1859. Next, please. Now, as you might recall, we were talking about 200 guilders for a 4-person family per year, and now you have requirements of 300 guilders, 150 up front, and then 150 later on. Now we look at dowry book, page 1, which is the dowry book of entry of Mother Mary. There are two things which I want to bring to your attention. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this? Können die das sehen?
Die sind alle gemutet, die können gerade nicht antworten.
Ach so, okay.
Ich bin mir nicht sicher, ob die das sehen von hier.
Okay. So it's not quite sure if you can see it, so I read it to you. The entry reads, entered the community on 4th August 1848. So I ask you, which community did she enter when she entered in 48, and the poor handmaids were founded in 51. And another entry is interesting here, which is she took her permanent vows in 1871. When you look at her entry, you find she contributed when she entered 200 guilders. So a little bit more than half, but afterwards it took some time, and she finally got through a legacy, a house and a garden, which she donated as well. Means it would have been difficult for her to join her own community. There's another on the formula. There's a specific row which says Gegenstände, which means things. And how difficult it was for Mother Mary actually to start this community. When you imagine she built her little house starting in 1846 and finally finishing it in 1848. And there were the so-called sisters who were helping her, but they didn't move in with her. The first sister came actually in 1849. So almost one year, 1.25 years after she moved in, and another one in 1850, and another one 9 months later in 1850, and another one 3 months later in 51. So in the meantime, actually, she had to care for the people who moved in with her, which was an orphan on one hand, and which was a handicapped woman first, then the woman died, and then an old woman. And she had to earn her own livelihood. And she had to serve the people in the community, together with the other women who were still living with their parents. So, next, please. The next entry in the dowry book on page 3 now is Sister Elizabeth. And Sister Elizabeth, it's the same with Mother Mary. She came in in 1850, and she took the habit and the vows in 1851 together with Mother Mary. And she contributed in 57, so it's not paying up front, 48 guilders and 24 kreuzers. And the next contribution was in 62, which was a part of grassland, which amounted to 40 guilders. Same, so here, she too couldn't have joined the community. Next, please. Now we look at the dowry book, page 4. This is Sister Clara. She came in 1850. She took the habit and the vows the same time with Mother Mary, and she contributed 150 guilders. It only says in November, but it doesn't give a date and of the year. And so she too couldn't have joined if it would have been going according to rules. Now the next dowry book entry, page 5, please. This is the dowry book entry of Sister Agnes, and unfortunately we don't know when she was. Unfortunately, we don't know when she was born, nor do we know when she died, because she left the community and took probably her birth certificate with her. So Sister Agnes, she also belonged to the first set of sisters, coming in 1851, taking the habit and the vows in 1851, and she contributed 60 guilders, and it is written down in cash. Now, as she left the community, she received 30 guilders, and 5 years later she turned up again, and she received some alms, which were 25 guilders. Now, if we recall that the rent for a 4-person house was 20 guilders per year, you can imagine how generous it was of Mother Mary actually to give her 25 guilders. There are some leading regulations about sustentation and so on, which is not our topic today, but I might come on later to this. So we look at dowry book, page 7. When we're talking about Sister Martha, she's the same year as Sister as the founders, 1820. And now I want to bring your attention that she is in the Sisters Registry signed down as number 7, but in the professional book as registered as number 6. But this happened because the sister we mentioned earlier actually didn't go to profession. Now, she was taking the habit in 1853 and her vows in 1855. But when we look at the formula, we find that she didn't contribute any money at all. And that's how it remained until she died. So she should have brought, as we've said, established earlier, 300 guilders, and she didn't bring anything. It was a poor time, and you must imagine that the entry reflects that how poor the time was in reality. Now, if we change, we go on to dowry book, page 14. Her entry was in 1853, and her vows were in 1856. Now, instead of the legally requested 300 guilders, she brought 1 guilder and 48 kreuzers, which you would like say pence or pennies or whatever. The entry shows something really interesting because in 1856 there was added 14 guilders as a contribution of her, basically of her family, for transporting wood for the monastery. So, next please. Now we look at Dowry Book, page 16. This sister was coming from next door, Montebauer. I was able to trace her birthday. She was born in 1822, and she is in the Sisters Registry as laid down as number 18, but she is not in the professional book. So we can assume that she didn't do profession. There's also no entry if she was taking the habit, nor if she took the vows. And here it's the same like we saw in the earlier entry. Her family, or she, contributed in harvested goods, which were accounted for being 40 guilders. This is the first time we find another entry. Excuse me. And dying in 1854, there was a payment of an inheritance post-mortem in 1861 of 35 guilders. Basically, so there were 75 guilders, but not the wanted 300. Next, please. Now, this is the upper half of the Dowry Book, page 20. And now we're talking about the sister who would become the general economist, Sister Angela Hisken. She was twice widowed, and with her came her daughter, where we will be talking later on. She's registered in the Sisters Registry as number 24, and in the professional book as 15. So you must imagine that there were some, they don't go synchrone, and so when you imagine number 24 and 7 and 15, so there were 9 sisters who didn't do profess at this time. She was taking the habit in 56 and her vows in 58. Her contribution reads, as far as the founders is aware, did Sister Angela possess 13,000 guilders when she moved from Montebauer to the monastery as a prebendary. Well, she came here as an ill person, and then she really enjoyed it here and decided for her and then for her daughter to take the habit. She died in 1866. The next is Dowry Book 20, lower half. Here we're talking about the daughter of Sister Angela, it's Sister Amela. Sister Amela was born in 1840, and she has the same entry in the Sisters Registry as well as in the professional book. And the entry is, and she entered the monastery in 1854. So she was 13. She was taking the habit when she was 15. Her vows when she was roughly 17. And her contribution reads 600 guilders and later on 147 guilders. She became the assistant of the generalate, was trained as a teacher, became teacher in the school of, became teacher in the nearby school in Montebauer, St. Catherine's School. in the nearby St. Catherine's School, which was a girls' school, and the bishop wanted to have it established as a girls' school. And as it goes with Mother Mary, and as it always goes with Mother Mary, there was a door plug saying Catholic Girls' School, but inside there were Catholics, Protestant, and Jewish girls. And it remained like this until it was closed. Now, when she left, she was the headmistress in Montabaur School. When she left, it reads in the dowry book, the entire assets were returned, which amounted to 4,043 guilders. When you think about it, a double-story farmhouse with a barn adjacent land makes 600 guilders. Now you can imagine what 4,000 guilders meant. Later on, she received also compensation for valuables plus interest, and 9 years later on, she was sent a further 500 thaler. This is because the currency changed from guilders into thaler, plus interest on top. And we don't know, she moved to Wiesbaden, and so we don't know where and when she died. Next, please. Now we have to leave our time frame, and this is part of the account of the General Superior to the Bishop of Limburg, and it reads, quote, regarding the worldly possessions of the congregation, they have grown as well, just like the number of members and the conditions are favorable. I often allowed not to pursue payments for the congregation by giving access to postulants who were poor and either could not pay the full or even any dowry that is prescribed in our constitutions. No young woman was sent away because she had no money to come to the convent. I also encourage the sisters in question of bequests to consider the needs of their poor relatives. Next, please. Well, thank you for your attention. And as I would put it, it has to be noticeable that you're a Christian, otherwise it's useless. So any questions, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Herr Keller, for this wonderful, well-researched details of this time in St. Catherine's beginning. So we invite all the sisters, associates, and field spirits, and co-workers. If you could please raise your hand if you have a question. We have about 60 minutes before we go to Sister Simone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Eu só queria saber se o material vai me mandar por e-mail.
I see, sister.
Navigantes, did you have a question?
Não, eu só queria. Eu sei que a apresentação foi boa, mas tem algumas coisas que não deu muito para mim entender, né? Eu queria saber se o material vai vir por e-mail para a gente ler depois.
Okay, she's just asking if any of this material will be available afterwards, because she found it very interesting, but would like to, only have more carefully if it's going to be available.
Well, if providing your permission, of course. I mean, I send it to you and to I send it to Yasmin and I send it to Sister Michelle. So if she wants to spread it anytime.
We
Well, it
we
should
are
be.
we are recording this presentation, so it will be available. And KG, do you see Pat Colas?
Where is the echo coming from?
Yeah, Mina, can you mute? This morning you muted, and it took care of that echo.
Yes, okay. Okay, Sister Pat Colas, you can go.
Thank you.
This is an observation, and I am thinking that by this evidence that Katharina Kasper was not only aware of the poor, but she was also a very clever bookkeeper and administrator, despite the fact of her lack of formal education. She was very practical in how to manage this. And I am thinking it's a miracle that this community was founded and could go on, probably due to her careful management and concern for the sisters.
You must imagine that given the requirements of 300 guilders, so Mother Mary would basically report to the bishop, we have 10 people living in here, and we have 3,000 guilders in the coffers. But so the rich who entered here paid for the poor.
Thank you. Sister Kathy, we have 2 minutes more.
I originally had my hand up because of the echo, but I was trying to get my head around what it meant for so many children to be categorized as illegitimate. And I guess it was because of the later when you spoke of the laws that people couldn't get married till the man was 25, et cetera, et cetera. So that must have been the reason for so many children being named as illegitimate. And what kind of, did that have an impact on, I guess, the education or the rest of their living? I'm not real clear, but.
The area of which was later on become the Duchy of Nassau. Beforehand, there were different local rulers who were Nassavians, like Nassau Hadamar, Nassau Dillenburg, Nassau Dietz, Nassau, whatever, and but which is constituent of the politics of the Nassavians is actually an illegitimate child was before, let's say, Napoleonic times. So let's say we're not remembering numbers, just say 1800. So before the Napoleonic times, an illegitimate child was not able to go to an apprenticeship. It was just barred from it. Mm-hmm. So what happened was, in one part, one of the Nassavian rulers gave the director of an orphanage a certain kind of a higher rank title, and this director adopted all 25 orphans, so they became legitimate, and so they could go and into an apprenticeship. And when Napoleon came, he changed the rules. There was no longer this regulation valid, but you must imagine the inhabitants, of course, carried the knowledge with them. And so afterwards, it was also some kind in a limbo. what did Mother Mary do in her orphanage, or migratory workers orphanage? She actually looked at all these children were trained. The males were trained as shoemakers, as carpenters, and the females were trained in household works or as a cook or something like this. So even Mother Mary changed. I mean, she was fully aware that there were still some people who were thinking not nice about orphans or, yeah, but she just made the whole thing work and give them a chance of earning their own livelihood. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Head Keller. And we might have a little bit of time after Sister Simone to ask more questions or more comments. But now we'll move on to Sister Simone. Sister Simone, has this willkommen? Du kannst jetzt beginnen. Vielen Dank.
Thank you very much. But first of all, I have to say, please excuse my poor English. I try to do my best, but if you don't understand, please feel free to ask, and I have Mr. Keller near to me, so he can help. My task was to say something about the 15th of August. And some we have already heard, and now I will say from two persons who wrote about the 15th of August. There's a Sister Beata, she was the secretary of Mother Mary, and Father Vitaya. We can say that Sister Beata got her informations directly from Mother Mary. That we can say. Because sometimes in her writings, in her, Protokollen,
the census of
the history of
the Chronicles.
In the Chronicles, thank you. This word was
Yes.
When Sister Beata wrote the Chronicle, she wrote what she had heard from Mother Mary. And Father Vitaya also wrote what he had heard around and what he was looking for, what he had lived with people and so on. And by Sister Beata, she writes sometimes we, then, or Mother Mary, I, when she heard something from Mother Mary. So it is very interesting to see this both, because both chronicles are different. At the same time in the year 1851, by the 15th of August, the first 5 young women who had entered to the order were closed. They received and got their habit. They were Katharina Kasper, Katharina Schönberger, Anna Maria Müller, Elisabetha Meuser, and Elisabetha Haas. Now she writes how the feast was. They were solemnly taken in procession by the clergy and the community from their apartment, we say from the little house, to led to the church, where they received the religious habit from His Excellency the Bishop. They were led from the little house of Nazareth, as Mother Mary said always, to the church in Virgus, because Virgus was a parish church. A large crowd had gathered from all over the area. Since there were no religious orders in this region, the good people had no idea and did not know the significance of this celebration. In his sermon, His Excellency spoke of the origins of our association and its development, and that if God were pleased, it would later become a monastery community. On this day, here it is written on this day, we quietly took our vows before the Most Reverend Bishop in the rectory. That is written by Beata. And by Vitaya, it is different. Katharina Kasper, who was appointed head of the association, took her holy vows with these 4 virgins. On the Feast of Assumption in 1851, in the parish church of Virges, before His Excellency the Bishop, who gave them their consecrated habit and due names. The head, Katharina Kasper, was given the name Sister Maria. The Virgin Katharina Schönberger became Sister Theresia. The Virgin Maria Müller became Sister Elizabeth. The Virgin Elisabetta Meuser became Sister Clara. And the Virgin Elisabetta Haas became Sister Agnes. Father Vitaya wrote that it was in the church, and Beata wrote it was in the rectory. The vows, to do the vows. The virgins who were already loved in their good, loved for their good nursing, modesty, and edifying behavior, and who were called to the sick from near and far, now received even more respect when they appeared in their religious habits. And many virgins applied to join the association. None of the previous members of the association who still lived with their parents in Dernbach came to the house because they were not suitable for communal religious life and for the profession of the poor handmaids of Jesus Christ. In the association before the 15th of August 1851, they had 7 members. And only these 5 came together and the other lived in their house with their parents. But they came also afterwards to meet and to help and to go from their home house to help the people and serve the poor and take care of the sick. That's interesting. When we had the first association, associated people.
Associates.
Yeah, associates. Then we thought of this, that Katharina had that also in her time. Yeah. Of the virgins who applied from outside the area, only one was accepted in 1851, only 5 in 1852, and only 7 in 1853. So that was the first point from Beata and from Vitaya. Is there everything clear, or there are some questions?
Ich sehe keine Frage.
We will go on.
Yeah, sister, you can go ahead. They will ask questions am Ende der Vorträge.
Can go on.
Ja, wir fragen am Ende nochmal, ob jemand Fragen hat.
Good. Now I have the writing of Sister Corona Kleist von Kleist. Sister M. Corona von Kleist. She wrote what she had asked from sisters about the first time. Sister Corona wrote what Anna Helber from Limburg had told because she was here by the 14th and the 15th of August. And it is very interesting. It's a lot what she wrote. Many, many, many pages. I will only say something about the 14th and 15th and 16th of August. Anna Hellbach from Limburg, she was born and living in Limburg. She became afterwards Sister Bernardine. She was born 1827, so only 7 years younger than Mother Mary. And she died 1902. I had the pleasure and good fortune to attend the first closing ceremony. I traveled there the day before with my friend. My friend was Katharina Busch. Behind it is written Busche Katchen. That was the name they called her always.
Nickname.
Nickname, yes. The most reverend bishop was hearing the confession of the 5 virgins in the small Laurentius chapel in Dernbach. The little monastery was decorated with a wreath of moss and roses and an inscription, God marry us. That was written on this decoration. I was deeply moved as I read this inscription. And I thought, not only yours, but also mine. Also that is what Anna Helber told of her feelings when she was there. So I slept in the little monastery at night, that night, and had a joy and grace of helping the Blessed Reverend Mother put on her religious habit and do her hair. The sisters did not wear hairbands or veil by that time. However, the Blessed Reverend Mother was not satisfied with my hairstyle and the doing of the hair, and kept brushing it back. She was not happy with the hairdo what Anna did. When we were finished, the cathedral vicar Graz, called Graz Father Graz, came in procession with the Virgin and children flags at the front from Virges to collect the Blessed Venerable Mother with the 4 other virgins. I followed with my friend. When we had walked a distance, a young virgin, came before the Reverend Mother and recited a beautiful poem. It was the future Sister Mathilde from Leuterod. And then the procession continued on to the church in Birdes. Here was the High Mass celebrated with the bishop. Afterwards, the Blessed Mother and the four sisters went into the sacristy with burning candles in their hands. It was that they took their holy vows there, because His Excellency the Bishop. See, that's the third version. Beata said in the refectory, they took the vows. Vitaya said in the church, and she said they went to the sacristy and there they took their vows. And they remained there for quite some time. Then all presents moved in front of the church. All people moved in front of the church, where a large circle had been formed in a large open space. In the center of this circle was a temporary pulpit, pulpit for the Most Reverend Bishop, and opposite it were the places of the sisters. The Most Reverend Bishop then gave a beautiful long sermon, of which I still remember few sentences. He said, for example, that these virgins must also practice holy poverty. But they should not despair if they have to go begging. They must obey their superior. I know from her that she no longer has any will of her own, that she only has a will insofar as she has to direct and guide the holy community according to God's will. She has no will, she said, only God's will. With God's will, in God's will, she will direct and guide the whole community. The Most Reverend Bishop then spoke about the vow of virginity, and so on. After the service was over, the sisters went to the rectory. When the afternoon procession returned to Dernbach, we joined the procession and stayed there until the following day. Upon returning to the little house, to the little convent, the Blessed Reverend Mother gave a speech to the four sisters. She exhorted them to humility and that they must now walk in the way of the cross and follow the dear Savior. Anna then writes further. Later, when I was alone with the dear Mother Mary, I asked her what she had been thinking when the most reverend bishop spoke so highly of her. I tell you, Nanchen. Nanchen is a nickname of Anna. I tell you, Nanchen, she replied, I hide myself in the most sacred heart of Jesus, and there I heard nothing at all. Even in later years, on similar occasions, the dear Reverend Mother did not know what has been said about her. Yeah, that's what I want to say. I could say many other things, but I think it is enough.
Vielen Dank, Schwester. Mina, can you quickly? Thank you. Okay, so now if we have any question for Sister Simone, this is the time. Just raise your hand, and Sister Sabita and Michelle will just look around and see who has the hand up. For question or comment, this is the time.
Nkechi, Sister Joyce.
I want to check what you said about after their profession day. Did the sisters wear their habits all the time or just sometimes?
The time.
Say it again.
Simone?
The sisters have their habit all the time.
All the time. Okay, thank you.
However, we had a conversation this morning for the German session, and Herr Keller described what that original habit looked like. So, Herr Keller, could you share with us what you shared this morning?
Yes, well, we have the triptych over there, and we have some really old photographs, but they do not portray the first habit. The habit was it was black, and there was an apron in front of it, and there was some kind of a white scarf, and there was some kind of a white cross on the chest. It has only once been described, as there are no pictures have been onto us, but it has been described by Bishop Bloom, who wrote it in a rather casual manner to an Austrian envoy, saying sort of like, the other day I gave to some women the habit, and then he describes it. So as we learned that there was not a veil as it initially, and what all came with it. I mean, the veil and the headband, and so this all came later. Yeah.
Thank you, Sister Rita.
I want to highly appreciate both Sister Simone and Herr Keller. I have one question to Sister Simone. My question is, there are 3 accounts regarding the sisters making the first vows. Which is the most reliable account?
Welche die entscheidenden sind, aber das kann man ja nicht sagen.
Welche die glaubwürdigsten
Ja.
sind.
Well,
Was am wahrscheinlichsten ist.
Soll ich antworten? Ja. Ach so. They all are correct in the way they describe it, but they put weight on different aspects. the sacristy belongs, of course, to the church. So any rite which could be performed in the church could be performed in the sacristy. The other thing is there was, I can't say there is, and I don't know the duration of time or in what time period, but there were regulations that certain kind of receiving the habit, the actual change of clothes, would take part in the sacristy. And so it's a question you can't really decide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did it meet your question?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you.
Ms. Nora?
I don't know if I misunderstood, but it sounds like on August 15th, the 5 sisters took their vows with the bishop. And then on the next day, there were 7 more or something like that. And the next day, 7 more. I got the sense that they kind of took their vows, all the people who were joining took their vows on different days. Is that correct? That's the first part of my question. Was I correct in what I heard? That each day after?
No, what happened was actually the first 5, Sister Nora, the first group were the first 5 sisters, and they took their vows in Virgus.
Yeah.
Because Virgus was the parish. We didn't have a parish here in Dernbach.
Right.
And then this is really a real interesting aspect, which makes me think where the second time the vows were actually taken of a second group of sisters, if they were taken in Virgus or in Dernbach.
And who would have received those vows? Because the bishop wouldn't be there and the congregation wasn't really in formation or whatever. So Mother Mary had received those vows or who?
Who received those vows? She said the bishop wouldn't be there for that.
What?
Well, normally the bishop or his representative, which would be some kind of a higher clergy, or he would have. There's a time where he actually, where Father Witthayer actually, the Father Witthayer took the vows of the sisters.
Because
it's a period.
Yeah, I never really had thought about the fact of how did the next 5 or the next 7 or the next 10, how did that happen?
Mina, could you please mute when any sister is talking, please? Thank you. Right, go ahead, Sister Nora.
Oh, I'm finished with my question. My comment was just that I had never really thought about the next group and the next group and the next group and how they came into the whole picture too. You know, I found very interesting that, the next day and the next day and
Sister Nora and everybody, one of the pieces that was interesting that we have the profession book there. Herr Keller, do you have the profession book with you right there? Okay, so we can't see the insides of it, but this is profession book number 1. And so it outlines every time there was a profession. And in this case, on Mother Mary's, because people need to remember, she didn't make her final vows until 20 years later. And so it does record all the times that she renewed her vows during that time. On this morning's commentary, Herr Keller said we had a general superior who was not in final vows. And so that's kind of an interesting thought. You know, there's certainly some pieces to that. But I would think that either Father Whittire or the bishop, they would make those arrangements. That's the next talk. The next symposium is on the 100 years from 1851 to 1951. So maybe we will uncover more information at that point to find out who, because that means reading chronicles and stuff now.
What do you want to say?
That is, can you see that? That is the original what Sister Corona wrote. That is her handwriting, and it's an interesting book. Now we have seen it only here. It's beautiful. I can't read this, but it is beautiful. Can I add 2 points?
Can you see Shirley's hand is raised?
Mina, mute. Vire. Thank you. All right. This is Shelley.
Why isn't
Shelley?
We cannot hear you.
Muted, but we can hear you. Okay. All right, Sister Shelley, before you just as you get yourself, to be able to, for that, we can hear you. We go back to Sister Simone. She has 2 more points to add. Sister Simone?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is something what also is written in the words of Corona, and it's also from Anna Helber. She who wrote I, And when Katharina visited Limburg, it is written here, we went home and she stayed with us, also Katharina stayed with us for days, for 1 day or 2 days. She mostly talked about spiritual things and knitted quietly to herself. But she also knew how to adapt to others and could laugh heartily in a cheerful mood when something humorous was told with propriety. That's right.
Propriety, yes.
Propriety. My father, who liked to joke, wrote at the bottom in my letter a few years after I entered the monastery, asking if the Reverend Mother could still laugh like that. The Reverend Mother wrote in reply at the bottom of my letter, yes, I still rejoice in all time, but only in the Lord. I think that is so interesting. Mother Mary read this letter, what father of Sister Bernardine sent to his daughter, and this question she found, what the father of Sister Bernardine wrote, and she, in the letter, she wrote this sentence below. Yes, I still rejoice all the time, but only in the Lord. Isn't that great? I like it.
Okay. Okay, so Sister Shelley said we have to always remind ourselves this was a new, let's see.
Religious community.
Yeah.
Did you just scroll down? Oh.
It disappeared.
You want me to read that?
Yeah, please. Yes, please.
that this was a new religious community being formed. And so what is common for us 175 years later actually evolved through the beginning years at the time of St. Katharina. Today, many communities are being formed, i.e., for example, Fiat Spiritus. Who knows how this and all new communities might evolve in the years ahead?
Very true. Thank you.
There's one more question, and Shanti.
Sister Suma, I think it's from your room.
Yeah, I have a question. Sister Simone shared that Saint Katharina, she made her final vows quite late. Did any sisters take the final vows before her? And is there any reason that she delayed her final vows so long? Is there any information written? That's my question.
Yes.
As far as I know, the documents, there was nobody who did her final vows before Mother Mary. And, but there are, to my knowledge, at the moment, no reason why this developed. And we had this question this morning, and I will go back to the documents and see if there was some kind of if there's some kind of a reason to it, but not as I know, and not as Sister Simone is aware. It just happened.
Okay.
This is Sister Linda. I believe that they had to wait until the Constitution was approved in 1871 before any final vows could be taken.
Beautiful insight. Yeah, thank you, Sister Linda.
Yes, it's definitely a plausible explanation, but it would be interesting to see if there are any documents to support this. I find it plausible what you said, but it would be interesting to have a document to support this.
Okay, thank you. At this point, we would like to move on to the next session. Maybe, in that process, we might be able to also bring up some comments or questions, and as we go through that session. But meanwhile, I would like to thank Sister Simone and her Keller. I'm sure you will all agree that they took us not only through the head journey with all the research, but also through the heart journey, really reminding us of retelling our story and how our story can touch our hearts to continue to burn the love that Katharina has shared with us, with the next generations as well. So right now we will move on to the next. Sister Sabita will take us through that little process.
Dear sisters and associates, having heard from our great speakers who guided us into the heart of our history, we now move on into our time of reflection and sharing. We were supposed to have Zoom room discussion, but due to time crunch, we are canceling them. We now invite you to share your key insight or learning from these talks. Kindly show your digital hands when you are ready.
Sister Nancy.